Hi, how you doing? This is Chris again. Okay, what I'm going to be doing now is just throwing detail on this, basically all willy-nilly like. I have a couple of bits here that are really going to need some detail thrown on them anyway, and then we're going to start, sticking screws and bolts and things on it, and then probably we're going to be more or less done. So the parts I'm going to add are presumably some sort of an adjustment knob. No, that's some sort of a plate. Where does the adjustment knob go on this? It just seems to fit directly onto this. Oh well, that must be where it goes. Let's have a look. So here, what I'm going to do is grab this part and extrude it just up like that. That was too far really, a bit less. There we are. And I need to make a kind of rounded shape here for this. So move that in there, and then I'm going to chamfer it a bit. Okay, and that will create this part here. Now then, this bit here is going to be probably rounded, so I'll grab here, extrude it out. Okay, like so. And that'll give us space now to put our disc that we need to build. So I'm not going to hollow this out to make it really, really adjustable. I'm just going to make it look like it's an adjustable thing, Let's see. I doubt it's adjustable on both sides either, to be quite honest. So what I'm going to assume is that this kind of part here it's a bit wide. I don't know. Let's have a look at it. I don't think I can really bring this section in so much. Let's have a look. No, I can't really. But I could be able to half it, I suppose. The only problem is that obviously if I now ring this, it's going to go all the way back to the very front, which is something I'm kind of trying to avoid. So I think I'm going to have to do it manually. I probably just selected a million parts that I shouldn't have selected there. If you think you've selected something you shouldn't have selected, just Control Z, do it again. Okay, and connect. There we are. Now, I'm going to start getting rid of parts. Like this. Reason being that I don't think we actually need it. It looks too big for my liking. If it's that wide. Sod it, that part as well. There we go. Now, this part is unfortunately not split, so we'll just split it now. Where's the connect tool? There we are. And now, I can do a bridge between here and here. Not there and there, here and here. Slightly itchy ear. Did you want to know that? Well, you know it now. Incidentally, I haven't talked about, 3D Palace and professional tutorials yet. Chances are you already know about our commercial tutorials. If you don't, and if you really want to learn how to do some amazingly awesome things in 3D Studio Max, then now is probably the time you should have a look. Because our commercial tutorials, if you think this is a free one, our commercial ones kick so much bottom it's not even funny. Okay, move that into there. Right then, now I'm going to make a cylinder, which I am going to pull out from here. bring it up a little bit like that. You'll notice it's slightly over the edge of this, which is what it's supposed to be apparently. Convert to editable poly. And if you're thinking to yourself your computer just isn't powerful enough to be doing this sort of thing, then A, you probably shouldn't be doing 3D. B, this computer's broken. It crashes all the time. You know, this isn't high detail, to be quite honest. Oops, that's bridge. Huh. This isn't high detail by comparison to some of the stuff I've done. In fact, it's quite low detail by comparison to most of the stuff I've done. So for heaven's sakes, you know, grow a pair. Take the plunge. Do some 3D. It's great. If you can play, you know, any modern video game, you can do 3D. Well, you can't necessarily do 3D, but you know, you have the hardware that can do the 3D. Okay, that's that piece. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, let's have a look. Just marquee select here. All these parts. There we are. And this is then going to come down here for a little wander. Well, I shall clone it as an element. Or perhaps clone it as an ailment, who knows. Just until this bottom part here sinks below the waves. There we go. It just saves me having to do it twice, really. I mean, if it's not going to be any quicker, then I'll not give a damn, but chances are this is going to be slightly quicker. There we go. Because what I'm going to do now is delete that and that. And I think there's a lip on the back I can... no, there isn't. Ugh, well. Now then, let's see. Delete there, there, there. And there. Ah, yes. Now I see. And there's now these things suddenly come to you, isn't it? I can start bridging things now. Oops, hang on. There we go, bridge. Sometimes you just accidentally lose what you were working on. Got a bridge there. Bridge there. I'm going to cap those two, so I'll just do that and that. Starting to get a bit flaky now, you see, because I need my coffee. Over here, where I decided that I was going to use these, and now I'm obviously not going to use these. And what if this was like a sci-fi piece, but it isn't? Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing when you're trying to remember exactly what it was you were going to be bridging and why. Go to that one. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not a good number of edges. Never mind. There will bridge nicely. And that will cap. There will bridge nicely. And that part will also cap. There we go, and that closes that piece off. And now we have a second adjustment knob, or knob. Try not to giggle. There we go. Grab this one. Shift drag. And then drag it down in place. I mean, really, we're using so many different styles to, like, work on our model that it doesn't really make too much difference how we're attaching it together. Like I say, it's not a game model. There's too many blooming holes in it and too many polygons and stuff. However, it is a nice model, and that's good. Alright, we need to make a little toolbox so that we can place our screws on for how this thing's going to be held together. So, what I'm going to do is just make a box that I can build them on. That way I'll know they're going to be roughly the right size. Bring it up and through, there we go. Because I want to build them, like I say, the right size. And I'm going to start with a cylinder, which I'm auto-gridding. And there. Pull down. That's the size of the object we're going to be using. All our screws are going to be the same, every single one of them. Convert to editable poly. I'm going to call them underscore screw 01. That way they'll all be called screw when I duplicate them. Just stretch my legs so I don't knock out the bottom of my computer here. Okay, now, depending on how detailed your scene is and what you want to do with it, and if you want a trillion polygons or not, you can make these parts as detailed as you like. The more detailed that they are, the better your model will probably look. Okay, now what I'm going to do is start beveling because I need to make a screw. That comes down there like that. Straight down, down and in. Up. Up and in. Okay, and now we have this shape. Now what I need to do, ideally, is create kind of a screw head. So, just look at it and work out where it's best to do it from. Okay, I want to create it fairly wide, to be honest. So there to there. I want a bridge. And there to there. I want a bridge. Just trying to imagine big fat military hands trying to manipulate, fat screwdrivers and stuff, and we'll be fine. Okay, that's our head there. I mean, I'm really overemphasizing the shape anyway. You can make it any shape you bloody well please, to be honest. I mean, I really don't care. If you want to, you can make it a crosshead, a Phillips, you can make it bolts. Anything at all. It's just, obviously, you want it to look slightly more detailed, or slightly as detailed as you can get away with, because we're going to use a lot of them very, very shortly. Okay, next. Grab here and here. Just remember though, if you're using lots of these and your computer can't manage an awful lot of polygons, then you may hit problems sooner or later. Also remember that unless you add these in a very specific way, which I'm not going to be showing you how to do today, because I want to make money selling tutorials for the website as well, Well, I'm just not showing you today because it's going to take bloody ages, really. You won't be able to sub-D. There we go. So that makes that shape there. Now I'm going to bring these ones up a little bit more, just to emphasize this shape. Okay, there. And we can even like bevel them a teeny bit if you want. Just chamfer that edge, there we go. See? Easy as a cake. So that's our screw. And what I'm going to do now is, over here, I'm going to use our paint objects just to paint this directly onto this model in all the places that I want it. So what I'm going to do is go here, edit my object list, pick this, let's bring this over here, and now I can paint it on. If I just select here any selected object or my scene or the grid, I'm just going to use the scene, make sure that's selected, and now as you see I can literally draw onto my model. Now be careful with this, okay? It's easy to go gung-ho and just start putting so many of these in, you don't know what to do with them. Just kind of messing with them a little bit here. There we go, there's 4 which are going to be on these ones. Now before we continue, let's show how we're going to make these actually look cool. So the easiest way to do it is I delete this and this first, and then we attach these. Simplest way to do it is just click here, and click cap. And it'll just cut straight through. Now, to be honest, you want to be a little bit more cautious than this in the way you do it. So what I'm going to do instead is select this edge, bridge, cap. Okay, and now you've got this as a recessed inset shape, which honestly looks a million times better. Same over here. Again, just bridge and cap. Okay, so this is like fast results. This is what you want. You want to be having your fast results. You want to be having your model done and then going home for tea and cakes and to watch Basil brush or whatever it is you like. Okay, attach. So same as before. Just bridge. And then cap. I'm doing things the long way. Honestly, you probably will want to set hotkeys to do this. Okay, so again, there's our 4 screws now holding the damn thing together. As you see when we zoom in. We can go down here now and do it again over here. Maybe we want to make our screws a bit more rounded or smaller or taller or anything, we can do that too. So I've still got my paint objects here. I can change the alignment, the spacing, anything I want. Right then, so over here, like that, and then perhaps go up here, and there should be one here, and one over here, and let's look over here, one there, there, there. Move in a bit. Just try and make it so it fills, the polygon, but doesn't go over the edge, because otherwise then we're going to have problems when it comes to kind of putting these things together. Okay, just being cautious with this as we can. And then we're just going to go and we're going to put it together. Nice and easy. Alright, now let's attach these parts on. Now remember, it's going to take us, a few seconds for each part as we add them in. So the more of them there are, the longer it's going to take you. You can make them so they're flush with the model, so they come out on top. But most modern screws, especially for parts like this, aren't going to lie on top. They're going to be inside, if you kind of get where I'm coming from here. Okay, let's take out the polygons that we need to replace. Now the thing about this one actually is I don't think this is a very good piece to be having here. I don't think it's really making any sense, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Think about it. Think about the flow of the model and how things are held together. Or, in the worst case scenario, actually look at the reference art you've got. Okay, and bridge. I'm just going to go down and bridge all these first before I do this. Take your time, okay, even though maybe you can see the finishing line approaching. You don't want to be rushing it. You know what I mean by that? When you get towards the end of a model, maybe it's an assignment, it's been a bit long, whatever. And so you rush it, and then you end up having to busk or, work down the docks for money. You know what I mean? Yeah, just take your time. If you are working on an assignment and you're near the end of the project and it's a killer project and you're running out of time like crazy, here's a top tip for you, actually, one that I learned that you may want to try it for yourself. Go and see your tutor and say to him, can I please have some extra time rather than finishing this project and making it look like arse? You'll thank me for that later when you're working at, Square Enix doing furries or whatever it is you plan to do with your life. Making terrible looking horse animations, I don't know, whatever. You'll get the point. So for goodness sakes, don't rush. Here we go, here's another two. "3D Palettes tutorials are all about, taking the long way. Well, no, not taking the long way, but showing you how to do things. And taking the long method, i.e. showing you all of it. You may notice there's been no cuts, except for me to stop and pause. This entire building of this model is taking me exactly as long as it's taking you to watch it in real time. Which is good, because obviously in the places where, there's been parts I need to change or edit, I've gone back and changed and edited them, and you've seen why and how. Don't get me wrong, the big, clever, big-wigged folks over at, other sites that tend to rush through and cut a lot, they have their reasons. Namely that, to be quite honest, it's a bit of an art form talking endlessly for hours and hours and hours. You start to sound a bit like Morgan Freeman. And not everyone can do it. I mean, you can endlessly talk about and move the vert over here, and then move this vert over here, until you're just about ready to shoot yourself in the face. But they're important things, and you learn through repetition. Repetition, yeah, it's not a bad thing. Right, let's, don't worry, we've nearly finished this segment anyway. I mean, if you've ever watched the Sentinel section of the APU, which, even if you don't want to spend money, you can do, because I believe I'm making it free. If it isn't already free, then it will be soon. Not the APU, the Sentinel part. You'll know there's an awful lot of, move, 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 just endlessly moving parts, because it's all sub-D work. But we still showed you how to do it. And I tell you what, we had a lot of people who showed their finished work when they'd done that, and who were very, very, very pleased with themselves, for obvious reasons. Right, there we go. That's added the screws in down this end. There's also a part that I'd quite like to add in down here, actually. Let me just see how big these polygons are. Cylinder, here we are. Why is my cylinder not appearing? Ah, there it is. Convertible poly. Control, select by edge, and then a little chamfer. And then grow it. And then attach that part to this one. There we go. That wasn't too shabbed, was it? Okay, so now our minigun is nearing completion. And I was going to work on the loader and didn't, so maybe I should put the loader in next.